Hi, my name is Jennifer, and today I want to talk about the shore power connection on travel trailers. The standard shore power connection is just not a great design. I want to explain to you why that is and the issue that we ran into with our shore power connection, and then what we did instead to upgrade it. So on a travel trailer, the standard shore power connection is designed so that you twist the cable into place. And the connection by design is loose. It's just not a very strong and secure connection. And because of that, because it's a loose connection, the connection creates a lot of heat. So on our travel trailer, which is about 5 years old now, when we went to plug in the trailer to charge it up for one of our trips, we found that there was an issue with the shore power. We saw that there was some burn marks on the cable and the power connection. What happened is over time, the connection just got to be too loose and it generated too much heat and it caused an issue. Now, we were actually really lucky because this connection was pretty bad. Once we took it apart, we saw it was really melted. There was a screw that was almost completely melted, but also the cables were really in bad condition. A cable that was supposed to be white was a very burned color. There was way too much heat in this connection, and we're really lucky that it didn't start a fire. A while ago, we upgraded our trailer so it has an inverter charger in it, and that inverter basically saved the trailer. What happened is we did have a surge protector plugged into the outlet, but that isn't where the issue was. The power from the house to the surge protector was fine. The surge protector didn't trigger because that's not where the issue was. The issue instead was at the trailer shore connection itself. So the power was going from the house to the surge protector and then continuing to the trailer. And then the inverter luckily was smart enough to recognize that it was an unsafe situation and the inverter cut the power. Now, how we identified that there was an issue is we went in and the inverter wouldn't turn on, it wouldn't allow us to charge the shore power. And we actually at first thought it was an issue with our inverter itself. And then when we looked at the cable, we realized that there was a different issue going on there. And then just in case anybody else has one of these multi-plus inverters, it not only was able to identify that there was an issue and trigger itself to shut off so it didn't turn into a much larger issue, but then once we corrected the problem, it reset itself and we didn't have to do anything with the inverter. It was just smart enough to recognize that there was a problem and handle it all itself. So we are super grateful that we had that Victron inverter in place because I feel like that really saved our trailer from what could have been disastrous. Okay, so to recap, what happened was over time, the shore connection just got looser and looser. It started generating too much heat until it caused an unsafe situation. So now let's talk about what we did to fix the problem. So we could have replaced it with the same type of plug, and that would have been the most cost-efficient thing to do. But because we just ran into this problem, we really wanted to try and upgrade it and fix it with something that was going to be a little bit safer and something that we didn't need to worry about as much going forward. So we decided to upgrade it with what is called a SmartPlug. And the biggest difference between the standard shore connection and this SmartPlug is how the cable connects. So instead of twisting on to have it be secure, it clicks in. And the click in is supposed to be a much tighter connection because like I said before, the problem is that it is intentionally a loose connection, so it does generate more heat. This is supposed to be a really snug, tight connection, and so there shouldn't be extra heat generated, and hopefully long term we won't run into another problem. So we purchased a kit, and I will add a link to this in the video description. The kit came with the 30 amp connection that we can put in our trailer, and then it also came with a kit that we could use to modify our existing cable. So it has a different connection, so we would need a different cable. And we already had a pretty long cable that we used to plug in the trailer, so it was nice to be able to just modify our cable to work with the new plug instead of having to buy a new expensive cable. So I'm not going to go through it in detail because it did come with really good directions, but I did want to just at a high level talk about our experience with the install and how that went. So installing the connection in the trailer was super simple. You basically just need to take off the old connection and keep those screws because you use them with the new one. And then you take the wire and it's color coded to show you where it goes in the new connection. As long as you just follow the directions, putting this on the trailer was really not a big deal at all. The much more difficult part was dealing with the cable. Getting the old cable to fit into the connection was really difficult. It was a lot more work than we had anticipated. You basically use a dish soap to try and make it slippery so that you can squeeze it in there. And we used what we thought was a pretty generous amount, but it seemed like it was just never quite enough. Honestly, if you don't already have a nice long cable, it might be worth just buying a new cable and not dealing with this part. Just put the part in the trailer and then get a new cable. We already have a pretty nice long cable, so for us, it made sense to reuse it instead of purchasing a new one, but that was the more difficult part of the task. The other part is on the cable. When you're adding in the new plug, it's really important that you're getting it tight enough, because if this plug is not on all the way so that it has a really good seal around it and it has enough clearance, then it's not going to snap into the trailer properly. And that's the issue that we were running into. We thought we had the cable good, and then we went to put it in the trailer and it didn't snap. It just kind of hung there. And again, that would give us a loose connection, which is what we're trying to avoid. So it was really important to us that it gets snapped on properly so that we know that it's safe and secure. So we had to go back and tighten up that cable end, and then eventually we got it. So now we have a nice, satisfying click when we plug that cable in. But modifying the cable was definitely the most time-consuming part of this project. So far we're really happy with the SmartPlug design. It seems like a really intelligent design, and it's nice that it's easy to modify the trailer to work with this new, safer system. So hopefully going forward, we won't run into any more issues with the shore power connection. I hope this helped, and like I said, I will add a link in the video description to the upgraded shore power connection that we used. Thanks for watching, and happy camping.